Good morning, and thank you for joining me today for a very interesting session on how a naturopathic diet can play a crucial role in recovery post the COVID-19 infection. My name is Charmaine D Souza, and I'm a consultant dietitian and clinical nutritionist with a naturopathic practice that has been around for more than 30 years. I have authored the two health books, namely Kitchen Clinic and Blood Sugar and Spice. Without further ado, let's go on to what this naturopathic diet for post recovery is all about. Now, the minute we talk about any form of infection, we have to mention the buzzword of 2020, which has been immunity, reddish, yellowish in terms of fruits and vegetables, and dark green leafy vegetables. So I'll list out a few, for example, your carrots filled with vitamin A, mangoes, sweet potatoes, spinach, bell peppers, the capsicum, the red and green and yellow. And if you are a non-vegetarian, then even cod liver oil, eggs, and of course cheese. All these are good sources of vitamin A. Then we move on to vitamin C. All your citrus fruits, green chilies. You'll be surprised to know that even green chilies are an extremely good source of vitamin C. Broccoli, lemons, peppers, and tomatoes. Just by increasing the consumption of these foods in the vitamin C category, you will have improved your immunity. Vitamin E. Olive oil is a good source. Peanuts are excellent sources of vitamin E. Pumpkin seeds, dry roasted. Walnuts and almonds. All these are good sources of vitamin E, but they have to be used judiciously. So you cannot sit with about 30 or 60 almonds, but you will look at 5 almonds, which you will preferably soak overnight and then eat the next morning. Then vitamin D. Now, unfortunately, so many of us have low, extremely low levels of vitamin D. And when we talk about fortified foods, whole milk, mushrooms, egg yolk, and salmon, then these are foods which are rich in vitamin D, the food sources, the precursors to the actual form of vitamin D. Now, I'm reading out on the screen that there was a technical glitch apparently. So we'll go back to the vitamins and specifically the foods which provide you with the food sources of the vitamin. So like I said before, for those of you who heard me the first time, foods are divided into nutrients, and specifically in terms of recovery, quicker recovery post any infection, we need to look at vitamins A, C, E, and D. Very easy to remember, like I said before, A, C, E, D spells out as aced. Okay, so it's an exam. So in this way, in your recovery part of it, you need to ace that. So vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin D, and vitamin E. Look at vitamin A from all your dark green leafy vegetables, from orange and yellowish and reddish fruits and vegetables. Look at mangoes, carrots, sweet potatoes, all good sources of vitamin A, along with your dark green methi, your fenugreek leaves, spinach leaves, red and yellow bell peppers. If you're non-vegetarian, then cod liver oil is a very good source of vitamin A. Eggs are good sources, as well as cheese. If you are looking to improve your immunity from vitamin C rich foods, then all citrus, we all know that, right? Anything that's sour, anything that is tangy has a source of vitamin C, ascorbic acid. So hence, citrus fruits, lemons. Then interestingly, green chilies, they are very good source of the precursor to vitamin C. Broccoli has good amounts of vitamin C, peppers, and of course tomatoes. So when you're looking at the lycopene content as well as the ascorbic acid content of fruits, then look at tomatoes as a very good source. Apart from this, when you're looking at vitamin E, the good food sources of vitamin E are olive oil, peanut, pumpkin seeds, which you will lightly roast and then eat, walnuts, and almonds. So soak them and then eat them. Now, fortified foods will provide you with vitamin D. Whole milk provides you with vitamin D. Mushrooms, egg yolks, and salmon. Now, having heard this bit of vitamins being important and how you eat mindfully, we're ready for our first poll question. which is, does eating mindfully help with immunity and also with weight management? So you need to type in yes or no. So are you going to be eating mindfully? Are you going to be thinking about what you're eating, making the right choices? And will that help with your immunity? Will it help with weight management? Please type in yes or no. Okay, so while we wait for your answers, we'll move on to the other nutrient that is required in the daily diet, specifically when we are looking to recover from an infection, and in this case, the COVID-19 infection. So, apart from the vitamins that we spoke about, we need to also look at minerals that are essential parts of the diet. Okay, so you choose from zinc and magnesium. So, these are the two vital minerals that you need to look at for recovery, for quicker recovery. And where would you get your zinc from? Most people will answer that, we might as well buy a supplement of zinc. But if you are able to eat a whole range of foods, you're able to digest, your digestive system is working perfectly, and you are able to digest, then the best sources of minerals too are food sources. Okay? So they get better absorbed and assimilated in the body without putting a load on your organs. So whole grains, milk products, any kind of fortified breakfast cereal, beans, kidney beans, etc., chickpeas, all the lentils, okay, your dals, nuts and seeds. If you're a non-vegetarian, then any kind of shellfish like oysters, crabs, shrimp, red meat and eggs, all these are good sources of zinc. Preferably look at eating one or two of this entire range or whatever I've given you so that you can increase your zinc intake. And similarly, when you're looking at magnesium as from a food source, then whole grain or your rice, wheat, etc., your beans, peas, any kind of legume, soy, tofu, tempeh, nuts and seeds, avocados, bananas, or your dark green leafy vegetables like spinach, fenugreek, etc. Fatty fish like mackerel and salmon are all good sources of magnesium. When we look at this food source and we're like trying to increase the intake of certain foods, when we look at mindfully eating and we look at choosing, making correct choices, so that this is going to be instrumental in helping us to recover quickly. Now, the next part of today's session is going to be on immunity boosting herbs and spices. Okay, so a lot of people are randomly making these brews and kadhas, etc. And we will also, at the end of the session, share our screen with 3 recipes of immunity boosting waters and also a spice mix, which I'm, kind of known for. So before we do that, I'd like to explain to you how spices work, and more importantly, and that's more crucial, when is it that you should not be consuming or over consuming a particular herb or a particular spice. Okay, so the first thing that everybody talks about, the minute you talk about immunity, everyone is ready with haldi, which is turmeric basically. So whether you have your turmeric lattes, which is like the new thing, and haldi doodh or turmeric milk, which has been with us from our great grandmother's times, etc. Turmeric in combination with pepper is extremely good for your immunity. Okay, it will help boost your immunity. So technically, what you're getting is going to be curcumin and pepperin from this combination of turmeric and pepper. Okay, we're ready with our second poll question, which is, should herbs and spices be used in all these decoctions, brews, and kadhas? But specifically, should they be used in any random order? And that is the reason why you need to kind of listen to why, or hear me out when I talk about why they should not be just used ad hoc, randomly in any kind of brew. Now, when will you avoid large consumption of pepper and turmeric? Okay, so 1 glass of the kadha is fine, but 6, 7, 8 glasses is definitely going to be harmful. When especially during pregnancy, for people who have any sort of bleeding problems, when there are people who suffer from gallstones or stones in their gallbladder, anything with a reflex, anyone with a reflux issue, which is GERD, which is the breast, cancers of the ovary, uterus, anyone who has uterine fibroids, anyone who's suffering from endometriosis, any woman who's suffering from endometriosis needs to avoid this larger consumption of turmeric and pepper, the combination. Men need to understand that this combination can also lower testosterone levels. So use the amount judiciously. Then it also lowers your body's ability to absorb iron, and it also interferes in some way with your blood clotting mechanism. So like I said at the start, use the turmeric and pepper, but 1 glass, limit to 1 glass in terms of the kadha or the brew or the decoction that you want to use to boost your immunity. But don't go overboard, because 1 glass is going to give me X amount of immunity. So let me have 10 glasses a day, then it will be detrimental to your health. The other thing that we talk about and we generally recommend is wheatgrass, right? Excellent in terms of helping general health. So wheatgrass will provide you with chlorophyll, provides you with enzymes, amino acids, vitamins, and minerals. We know that it is a superfood, but did you know that it can also bring down your blood sugars? Yes, and if you're a diabetic, you'll be very happy to know that, because it is slowly bringing down your blood sugars. But if you have hypoglycemia, you're non-diabetic and you have low blood sugar levels, then this chlorophyll will further bring down your blood sugar levels and keep you feeling dizzy, etc. Hence, you need to check the amount of wheatgrass that you are consuming on a daily basis, and know that if you begin to feel dizzy, etc., it could probably be because of the hypoglycemic action of wheatgrass, or wheatgrass's ability to bring down the blood sugars. Wheatgrass can also inhibit or come in the way of sleep. Please do not go overboard on your wheatgrass consumption. The other thing that generally goes into a kadha or brew is ginger. It has antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, and it also settles the stomach. But when will you avoid it? You will avoid when you're breastfeeding. It increases the risk of bleeding disorders. It worsens some heart conditions, lowers the BP, okay? Increases insulin and lowers blood sugar, slows down blood clotting. So avoid large amounts of ginger if you are taking an anticoagulant or antiplatelet drugs, warfarin, etc. If you're diabetic and you are also on high blood pressure medication, so you will not overdo the ginger bit. And similarly with garlic, you will avoid if you're taking warfarin, you have hyperacidity, because garlic can also lower your blood sugar levels, lower blood pressure, and most importantly, after surgery or if you are on a birth control pill, please do not overdo your consumption of garlic. Now, there are certain lifestyle modifications that everyone talks about in terms of boosting immunity. And the general thing everyone knows about is avoid smoking, limit the alcohol intake, because then only your immune system will function to the best of its ability and you will recover from any sort of infection more quickly. Then exercise regularly, minimize your stress levels, eat healthy, decrease your sugar and salt intake, especially while you are recovering from the infection. Drink sufficient water, pray. That's what I always like to tell people, that, calm down and pray. And most importantly, from all these lifestyle modifications is sleep. So sleep plays an important role, because when you are fast asleep, your body has a greater time to rest, recuperate, and recover. So sleep is also very important for, especially getting adequate sleep is very, very important for that period of recovery or during your recovery. So now we have our third poll question. Will sleep deprivation come in the way of recovery from COVID-19? You need to answer yes or no. Okay. So if you're sleep deprived, will you heal faster or will you heal slow? Okay, now I'm going to share the screen for those 3 recipes. Okay, now all 3 recipes will need hot water, preferably water that is warm, put into a thermos. So if you are at work, etc., what you can do is you can carry the ingredients to the office or to school or to your college or wherever. Or if you're at home, you can just have hot water in a bottle in a thermos and add the ingredients. So I like to use a small thermos, and or I add water to the ingredients. Okay, let it steep. You don't have to boil anything in terms of these ingredients. You don't have to brew it for a long period of time. You just simply need to take the ingredients and put them in a thermos or in a vessel or in a jug and pour hot water over it, 2 liters of hot water, and cover it. And when you cover it, what is going to happen is that it's going to steep. And for 10 minutes, allow it to be there. And after that, you can keep sipping the water through the day. So 2 liters of warm water, you start by about 9 or 10 in the morning and go on till 7 p.m. Okay? You take your 2 liters of water for any one of these therapeutic water recipes. Now, the first recipe is the use of 2-star anise. We have pictures right next to the spice so that you can understand what it is called in your language. So 2-star anise, 2 cloves, and 2 green cardamom, also known as elaichi in Hindi. You just put all this into that bottle or the jug or the vessel, pour 2 liters of hot water over it, cover it for 5 or 10 minutes, and after that you can start drinking it and go on drinking it till 7 p.m. So this is the first of our therapeutic waters. Our second therapeutic water, again with 2 liters of warm water, is 10 mint leaves, a 1-inch piece of ginger, and half of a de-seeded lime or lemon. Okay, depending on the size, half of a de-seeded lime or lemon with the skin. Okay, with the peel, with the rind. What you need to do is just chop up the lime, grate the ginger if you want to, just smash it up a bit, and take your 10 mint leaves and put them into the vessel or the jug or the bottle. Pour hot water, allow it to steep for 10 minutes, and drink this water up to 7 p.m. Okay, so this is your second recipe. And the third recipe is the makes use of 10 tulsi ka patta or basil leaves, either one of them, a teaspoon of roasted cumin seeds, jeera, and 1 bay leaf or tej patta. So you put all this into your vessel or your jug or your bottle, pour the hot water, allow it to sit there for 10 minutes covered, and then start drinking it and go on drinking it till 7 p.m. So these are the 3 therapeutic waters that I'd like to share with you today. And apart from that, we have a therapeutic spice mix specifically for you, but you can again make this in your home and use it to boost your immunity. This is made in larger quantities. You can double the recipe, triple the recipe if you're going to use it for your entire family. You take 2 tablespoons of mint powder, 2 tablespoons of ginger powder, 2 tablespoons of turmeric or haldi powder, 4 tablespoons of fennel seed powder of saunf, and 1 tablespoon of clove, black clove powder. Mix all these powders well and store them in an airtight container. And take 1 teaspoon of this specific GHA spice mix, which you've made in your home with your own ingredients, so you know exactly what's going in, and use that at bedtime. 1 teaspoon of this, and it's preferable when you're doing this to share it with everyone at home. So have 1 teaspoon as a family. Each one has 1 teaspoon. And please, if you have a number of staff whom you're interacting with on a daily basis, who live with you, who work for you, please give them this booster also. And this will help them to stay fit, healthy, and recover quickly. Okay, so we're now open for questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to type them out and I will read them and then answer them. And you are most welcome, if you don't have questions currently, to write them out and send them so that you are able, we'll be able to answer them. Okay, so if somebody is allergic to turmeric, then what they can use instead is use a combination of ginger powder in the same amount. So if it's 2 tablespoons, use 1 tablespoon of ginger powder and 1 tablespoon of dhania, that is coriander powder. Okay, so use that as a replacement. So all the stuff that I mentioned in terms of the spices and herbs are all options that vegans can also use. So there is nothing in the spice or herb combination, in nothing in the GHA spice mix. There's nothing in the therapeutic water ingredients list of ingredients that cannot be used by vegans. So please go ahead and use it. So we've already dealt with that thing in terms of pregnancy, in terms of avoiding large amounts of turmeric, large amounts of pepper, especially in a kadha, and also to avoid large amounts of ginger and garlic during pregnancy. So during the gestational period, during the 9 months. So that is a thing that you can continue. And most importantly, you choose from the vitamins and minerals and those foods rich in those vitamins and minerals so that you will be able to look at your building up your immunity during the gestation period, both for yourself as well as the fetus. So now that green tea that you have, which is available in the market, and will that be sufficient? It also depends on your condition, right? Did you just have COVID? Are you recovering? Are you under some form of treatment? So all that has to be taken into consideration when you have, and what type of green tea are you having? So is that sufficient for what? Is that sufficient for recovery? Is that sufficient to just stay healthy? It all depends on your uh, predisposing medical conditions. So, okay. So if you're looking at calorie requirement during recovery, again, it goes back to the specific amount of calories that you have been consuming. And if you have lost weight during that period of time, if you're trying to maintain your weight, or most importantly, if you have lost a lot of weight and you're trying to gain weight, so it is important that this answer is a specific answer. So if someone has been, for example, consuming a 1800 calorie diet and they have lost some 12 kilos for whatever reason during this period of time, then they definitely need to look at their calorific status as well as look at their weight, and accordingly a nutritionist or a dietitian will help them to choose the number of calories that they require. If someone is extremely weak and has not been able to eat for a couple of weeks during this period of time, during recovery, then definitely they need to look at increasing, at least start by increasing by 200 calories. But otherwise, we generally say that a 1500 calorie for someone who is in the recovery stage is sufficient. So again, any kind of protein supplement with milk for recovery because you're feeling weak is fine, as long as there is no uh, health condition associated with protein, like where you cannot take a high protein diet. For example, if you have any kidney issue, then you need to sit with your nutritionist and discuss in terms of how much of protein is advisable for you and accordingly take it. I do hope the session has been informative, and I will hope and pray that you stay blessed with good health always.